What is up, everybody? Calling all angels, and it is time for this break to be over for all of us. Yep, this is once again the Wings of the Angels podcast. We took a few weeks off here to pause for the cause, uh, mostly because as I was going through the scheduling, I realized, you know what, this is literally the busiest time of the year. Like the entire middle of April is a hugely busy time. So I decided it's better to use the break time to actually break. And so, getting caught back up on all of these, a couple of these things will be inserted later as recordings, specifically the Angel City stuff. However, we do have some stuff to take care of from the league. But first, what I'm going to do is get through the Angel City games here. So, what you're going to hear first up is a recap of it. Okay, so this has been done for a while. Let's actually talk about this. This game was kind of a unfortunate state of affairs, but it was also kind of expected. If you remember, I had said that Angel City was going to could drop the game, but also I'd expected a draw because it was going to be back and forth, probably Orlando, Angel City, Orlando, Angel City, and a 2-2 tie was my expected outcome. However, what ended up occurring was the scoring started way later than I expected. I had figured they were going to get some scoring going early in the second half. It was not until the 84th minute when Haley McCutcheon managed to get scoring started on Orlando's side. So, because of that, it became a much more dire circumstance where suddenly Angel City is just scrambling to tie the game, which they managed to do. Giselle Thompson getting her second goal of the year in the second minute of injury time to level the game. However, a lot of time had been added in this thing. It was a humid, warm day, so they had taken quite a few pauses for the causes. And so we get to 8 minutes into injury time, and McCutcheon manages to slip another goal in. And so Orlando ends up coming away with the victors on this. Angel City takes the loss, their first one of the season, which is unfortunate, but it's also to be expected in a league where everyone else had already lost. The last of the undefeateds has fallen. But this ended up showing off a good bit here of what both teams are capable of here. Orlando managed to generate some offense that wasn't centered around just going through the same player over and over. And I think that's going to be a good expansion for them later in the season. Now that it feels like their offense is a little more unlocked, it feels like some dimensions are finally opening up. They are going to be an interesting. They're going to be an interesting team to watch as this one goes through. However, I think there was also still some good from Angel City here. With Angel City, they had traveled across the country. It was the big cross-country trip here from California all the way to Florida, the battle of the Disney parks, as it were. But they still managed to show good defensive prowess for the majority of the game and were able to score in a crunch situation when it counted. Biggest thing is now it's getting used to those long hauls because cross-country trips are going to be more difficult the longer of a run you go on. And so this is something to think back on later on in the season when Angel City is making some road trips near the end of the year and there aren't going to be as many weeks off to look forward to and they've done a few games in a row. Are they going to be able to maintain themselves that whole way? So there's a lot to look at there. Obviously, there has to be some consideration to what does this team actually look like after the break, because this was a really good start for them. They came away winning a lot of games, only had the one loss, kept them up near the top of the standings, but now everyone's had a couple weeks to reconfigure. they've taken the information. So it's going to be an interesting thing here. What I am going to do this week is I am combining this one with the preview of their next game, just because I don't think there was too much to say. Plus, I could only get through on highlights from the last go around. So, I want to talk the preview of what's going to be happening here at the end of April when Angel City and Portland go at it. And so, Portland is also a team that has made a good move at the start near the top. Yeah, we haven't talked too much here just yet, but they have exceeded expectations. If you've been following my league-wide talk, they have looked far more solid than I had expected them to, given how much turmoil they were in. And so what you're seeing with Portland is they are 1 point ahead of Angel City in the standings, but they've also played an extra match. They have 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. So far in their schedule, their draw came right before the break with North Carolina. Another cross-country trip, by the way. And other than that, their only loss this season has been to San Diego, also on a road trip. So Portland is very solid within the friendly confines. So the question now becomes, making another trip back to Southern California. You've had 3 weeks to think about it. What is the plan going forward here if you're the Thorns? And honestly, if I'm thinking on what I've seen from Portland this year and some of their efforts, it's going to be a matter of picking up goals in early spots, because just going off of their last game, they were always ahead of North Carolina, but they would consistently give up the equalizer. Like their first goal in the game against North Carolina was in the 12th minute, and before the half-hour mark, they had already given up the equalizer. 33rd minute, they go ahead. A few minutes later, like before the 40th minute, they've already dropped it. So it's something that needs to be looked at, their ability to accept the response. They had something similar with San Diego. In their case, San Diego did score first, but they also managed to go in the first 8 minutes, and then by the half-hour mark, we're already trailing again. Now, their advantage has been defensively, they have been able to shut teams out. They've shut Washington out, they've shut Seattle out, they've shut KC out. So there is a very sturdy defense as well for Portland, which has also been the strength of Angel City. So looking at this matchup, I'm expecting 2 teams that have largely figured it out defensively to do a lot of back and forth, and it'll be just the opportunities in place. What we've seen with Angel City is they are very capable of leveling a score if they need it. With Portland, they do need to be out ahead, and they need to be able to hold their momentum for responses, which could prove dangerous. That's a stylistic issue with an Angel City team who is also going to be keeping the score low, because if you do give up the first goal or give up a quick response, you have already stopped playing the game that you wanted to play. And since this is the big return, and just in general, it's going to be a big day, I'm just going to announce this one now. I actually will be live broadcasting this one. I'm very much looking forward to it. This one will be happening Sunday the 26th. Already know that a lot of my obligations that usually come on Sundays are not going to be there at the end of the month. So that day is open. It won't be a permanent thing. It won't be able to maintain it for a bunch of weeks in a row, but it does give us a little bit of new things to talk about. In any case, let's look through here. I mean, this is a primo matchup. You got two top four teams a point apart, getting ready to play each other, and so I would very much advise everyone to check this one out. In terms of who I'm picking, this one is tough. My gut would say Portland is still playing with a hot hand, so I would still be mindful of them. However, Angel City, stylistically, it does look like this would be a favorable matchup, especially at home, because a lot of the situations that have screwed Portland up are Angel City's wheelhouse so far. So I am going to split the difference here and just straight up call this one. I'm going to say this one goes scoreless. I'm going to go on a limb and assume they both shut each other out. Because honestly, these defenses have been very sturdy, and I'm not sure who's going to be the one to break through it. Even if someone does, I would expect them both to. So 0-0-1-1 seems like a fairly safe pick right now. That said, it's like we just saw with Angel City playing Orlando. If a goal happens late enough, there might not be time for a response, or the responses all get thrown off. So be bearing in mind how much the actual timing of the goal is going to matter. Portland tends to score a lot earlier. Angel City tends to generate their goals later. So, in terms of style, when the goal happens is going to be very pertinent to what the outcome is going to be. In any case, that concludes both the recap and the preview. And so I will talk to you all for league-wide stuff in a bit.